Welcome to the Midnight Mind. If this is your first time here, hit the subscribe button. And please don't forget to like the video, it really helps me out. It's midnight, and tonight we enter the mind of Machiavelli. Have you ever noticed how often appearances outweigh reality? How the confident liar is believed, while the hesitant truth-teller is dismissed? You've seen it in politics, at work, even in your own family. The one who projects strength, certainty and control is trusted more than the one who struggles, even if that projection is nothing more than a mask. This is no accident. This is the logic of power itself, and no thinker revealed this more clearly than Machiavelli. Machiavelli, writing in the turbulent 16th century, was not a dreamer. He was not interested in utopias, noble ideas, or fantasies about human goodness. He observed men as they are, not as they should be, and in doing so, he came to a conclusion that still unsettles us today. The truth does not rule. Appearances do. Reality bends beneath perception, and those who master deception command those who cling to honesty. Why? Because most people never look beyond the surface. They see the mask and mistake it for the face. They see confidence and assume competence. They see ritual and assume meaning. In The Prince, Machiavelli writes that everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are. This is not cynicism, it's recognition. A ruler cannot afford to be vulnerable, no matter how virtuous he may be. What matters is not what he is, but what he seems to be. Think of your own life. Have you ever played a role, maybe in a job interview, smiling wider than you felt? Maybe in a relationship, hiding doubts to appear secure. Maybe in an argument, speaking more confidently than your facts could support. These are not just slips of dishonesty, they're survival. In a world ruled by perception, the mask is not a choice, it's a necessity. But Machiavelli's insight goes deeper. He didn't say truth is useless. He said truth must be hidden. He argued that a leader should appear merciful, faithful, humane, sincere, and religious, but only appear. He should be willing to abandon all of these qualities the moment they threaten his survival. Machiavelli tells us that to cling to virtue in the face of danger is not noble, it's suicidal. And yet, to appear virtuous is essential, because men are simple, he writes, and so he who deceives will always find those who allow themselves to be deceived. This strikes at something we don't want to admit. Most people prefer a beautiful lie than a harsh truth. A leader who speaks to their illusions will win their loyalty. A leader who rips away their illusions will earn only their hatred. The man who exposes reality is cast as a villain, while the one who hides it with pleasing words is celebrated as a hero. We crave deception. We crave the mask. And so those who wear it skillfully rise above those who do not. History offers endless examples. Consider the medieval kings who claimed divine right, cloaking their political power in sacred language, or the generals who staged parades of strength while their armies crumbled behind the scenes, or the modern politician who sells hope and unity while negotiating ruthlessly behind closed doors. Appearances always triumph, because appearances are what the crowd consumes. The truth exists, but it has no voice without the mask that makes it palatable. The real danger lies in believing you are immune. You might think you see through illusions, that you are too intelligent to be deceived. But Machiavelli would tell you otherwise. Even the cleverest minds are swayed by appearance, because the mask isn't just a trick of the eye. It plays upon our deepest needs, our longing for safety, for certainty, for meaning. We want to believe the doctor in the white coat, the priest in the robes, the executive in the tailored suit. Their costume is their credibility. Strip them of the uniform and the illusion falters. But we rarely dare to strip it away. And so deception is not merely a tool of the powerful, it's the fabric of society itself. Every institution relies on appearances. The courtroom on the robes of the judge, the military on the uniform of rank, the corporation on the polished language of mission statements. These symbols stabilize the world, giving order where truth alone would bring chaos. If men saw everything as it truly is, fragile, uncertain, corrupt, the structure of authority would collapse overnight. Illusion is the glue of civilization. Yet this raises a disturbing question. If appearances rule, where does that leave truth? Machiavelli's answer is brutal. Truth is the weapon of the powerful, not the possession of the weak. To cling to it blindly is to be crushed. To bend it skillfully is to dominate. Power isn't about discovering reality, it's about shaping perception. And those who fail to grasp this remain forever subjects, not masters. This is why Machiavelli's work has been feared for centuries. He doesn't comfort us with the promise that good men will prevail. He doesn't tell us that truth will conquer lies. He tells us that the world belongs to those who wear the mask, who manipulate appearance, who understand that the game of life is played not on the field of reality, but on the stage of perception. His lesson is as chilling as it is liberating. If you wish to rise, learn to deceive. And yet Machiavelli doesn't simply celebrate deception. He warns of its limits. A prince who relies only on appearance and no substance beneath will eventually be exposed. The mask cannot stand alone forever. What matters is the balance. The cunning to project the right image and the ruthlessness to abandon it when needed. Deception is an art, not a trick. It is a discipline requiring constant vigilance, constant adjustment, constant awareness of the shifting eyes of the crowd. For you, this lesson is unavoidable. Whether you lead a company, a family, or your own inner life, you're engaged in the art of appearances. You may despise it, but you cannot escape it. To survive, you must learn to master the mask. To pretend otherwise is to remain vulnerable in a world where deception is the currency of power. So the first step is recognition. Notice when you are deceived by appearances. Notice when you reward confidence over competence, ritual over reality, image over truth. Notice too when you use the very same tools, when you polish your words, posture, and expressions to influence others. This is not hypocrisy. This is human nature. The question is whether you use it consciously or whether it uses you. Machiavelli invites you to step into this uncomfortable truth. Appearances will always triumph over reality. You can lament this, or you can learn from it. The choice, as always, is yours. If appearances always triumph over truth, we must ask why. What is it about human nature that makes us submit to illusions? Machiavelli provides the framework, but psychology fills in the details. The mask dominates not because people are stupid, but because the human mind is built to prefer certainty, clarity, and order, even when they are false, over the chaos of reality. Deception thrives because it answers our deepest fears. Consider fear itself. Fear is the most ancient of human instincts, the force that kept our ancestors alive on the savannah. When faced with uncertainty, the mind chooses the story that offers safety, even if it's a lie. This is why we believe the confident leader who promises protection. His certainty calms the herd. The quiet, hesitant truth-teller, by contrast, triggers unease. We would rather follow a liar who projects strength than a truth-teller who reveals danger. In Machiavelli's world and in ours, fear bends the will of men to the mask. Psychologists have studied this dynamic for decades. The Milgram experiment revealed how ordinary people, persuaded by authority, will commit acts they know are wrong. Why? Because the appearance of authority overrides the inner voice of conscience. The lab coat, the clipboard, the firm voice, all masks of legitimacy, were enough to command obedience. The truth that they were harming another human being was drowned out by the illusion of authority. Machiavelli would not have been surprised. He understood that men will always choose the appearance of order over the reality of chaos. This is why rulers throughout history have cloaked themselves in symbols. Kings wear crowns, generals wear medals, politicians stage rallies with flags and slogans. These are not decorations, they are instruments of control. They create the appearance of strength, stability, and density. The crowd sees the mask and feels secure, even when corruption rots beneath. Machiavelli writes that men judge more by the eye than by the hand. because everyone can see but few can feel. Most of us will never touch the reality of power. We only see its image, and we submit to it. But there is another level, the herd instinct. Humans are social creatures, wired to conform to the group. To deviate is dangerous. To stand alone is to invite attack. This instinct is so strong that it blinds us to the truth when truth isolates us. If the herd believes the mask, you will too. Not because you're weak, but because your survival depends on belonging. To question the illusion openly risks exile. Better to nod along with the crowd, even when your private doubts whisper otherwise. Appearances gain strength not only from the deception itself, but from the pressure of conformity. Nietzsche, centuries after Machiavelli, warned of this herd instinct. He saw it as the greatest enemy of individuality, the silent force that makes men submit to comfortable illusions instead of seeking truth. Madness, he wrote, is rare in individuals, but in groups, parties, nations, and ages, it is the rule. The mask becomes contagious. Once enough people believe, the belief itself becomes reality. A false god, a false leader, a false ideology, once adopted by the herd, has more power than the truth ever could. Modern life proves this daily. On social media, appearances dictate value. The influencer's image is curated, staged, filtered. Yet the audience consumes it as reality, measuring themselves against illusions. Corporations craft narratives of ethics and purpose while exploiting behind the scenes. Politicians stage photo opportunities designed to evoke trust, while their policies serve hidden interests. We know somewhere inside that these are masks, and yet we cannot help but play along, because the mask gives us order, because the mask reassures us, because the mask keeps the chaos at bay. Here lies the deepest danger. Perception doesn't simply trick us, it comforts us. We want to be deceived. We want to believe that our leaders are wise, that our institutions are just, that our choices are meaningful. The alternative, that the world is driven by ruthless power, selfish desire, and indifferent chance, is unbearable for most. And so we cling to appearances. We choose the mask, and in doing so, we make it stronger. But Machiavelli would caution us, appearances are not invincible. They can be broken. When reality becomes too heavy, when the mask cracks under the weight of contradiction, truth erupts with violence. Revolutions, collapses, betrayals are all born from the failure of appearances. A ruler who deceives too blatantly, who forgets to anchor his mask in some measure of reality, loses everything. This is why Machiavelli advised balance. The prince must deceive, but wisely. He must maintain the mask, but he must also deliver enough substance to keep the illusion alive. Deception is an art because it demands constant calibration. For you, the lesson is both sobering and practical. You cannot escape the mask, but you can learn to see it. Notice the symbols of authority around you, the uniforms, the titles, the rituals. Ask yourself what reality they conceal. Notice when a group believes something not because it's true, but because it is repeated with confidence. Ask yourself when you conform not from conviction, but from fear of standing alone. These small acts of awareness weaken the spell of appearances. They don't free you entirely, but they give you a margin of freedom. At the same time, you must recognize your own use of deception. Every day you project an image, on resumes, in conversations, online. You polish your strengths, minimize your flaws, and present the self that others want to see. This isn't dishonesty, it's survival. The danger is when you forget the difference between your mask and your reality. When you begin to believe your own illusion, you're lost. The mask must always serve you, not replace you. Machiavelli forces us to confront this duality. To live is to wear masks, yet to master life is to control them. Those who refuse to deceive are devoured by those who do. Those who deceive without discipline are destroyed by their own illusions. The art of deception lies in balance, in awareness, in wielding appearances without being enslaved by them. And this art is as necessary in the boardroom, the courtroom, and the family dinner table as it is in the palace. So, ask yourself, Where in your life do appearances dominate? Where do you mistake the mask for the truth? Where do you reward others for projecting confidence rather than living substance? And most dangerously, where do you deceive yourself with illusions that make you feel safe but keep you powerless? Machiavelli's lesson is not comfortable, but it is essential. If you wish to navigate the world of men, you must understand why the mask rules. For in that understanding lies the first step toward mastery. If appearances always triumph, and if the mask dominates the herd, then the final question is inescapable. What can you do? Do you surrender, accept the illusions around you, and play the role of obedient subject? Or do you step into the game consciously, mastering deception instead of being mastered by it? Machiavelli leaves no middle ground. To survive, you must either wield the mask or be ruled by it. The first step is awareness. Without it, you drift in the illusions of others, a pawn in their design. Begin by watching the masks that surround you. Observe how leaders present themselves, how institutions stage rituals of authority, how even your friends and family project images of security, success, and happiness. Don't mock these masks. Don't resent them. Simply notice. The moment you begin to see appearances as appearances rather than as truth, you step outside the spell. You're no longer merely deceived. You're a student of deception. But awareness alone isn't enough. You must also learn the discipline of your own mask. Machiavelli warned that the prince must appear merciful, faithful, humane, sincere, and religious, yet be ready to abandon these at will. For you, this means cultivating the ability to project strength when you feel weak, calm when you feel turmoil, confidence when you feel doubt. Not as a permanent lie, but as a tool. The mask becomes your armor, protecting your inner self from the scrutiny and judgment of others. To walk through life without it is not honesty, it is exposure, and exposure invites exploitation. At the same time, you must resist the temptation of intoxication. Many who master appearances fall in love with their masks. They forget that they are acting. They begin to believe the illusion themselves. This is the fatal error of tyrants, celebrities, and leaders who lose touch with reality. Their downfall is not caused by enemies, but their own self-deception. To master the mask is to wear it lightly, always remembering that it is a performance. You control it. It doesn't control you. Here, the philosophy of Jung offers a critical complement to Machiavelli. Jung spoke of the persona, the mask each individual wears in society. It is necessary, he said, for without it we could not function. But he also warned that the persona must never consume the whole personality. Beneath the mask lies the shadow, the unacknowledged parts of the self. If you repress them too long, they break out with destructive force. The challenge then is not to destroy the mask, but to integrate it, to use it consciously while remaining anchored in your deeper self. This integration is rare, but it is the path of mastery. Most people either cling naively to honesty, exposing themselves to exploitation, or they drown in deception, losing themselves in their own illusions. Few can stand in that tension, to wear the mask with discipline, yet to know at all times that it is a mask. To present an image to the world, yet to keep a private truth uncorrupted. This is the art that Machiavelli hints at, though he speaks in terms of rulers and states. You too are a ruler, of yourself, of your life, of your small kingdom of influence, and you must govern with the same cunning. So how can you practice this? Begin with small acts of self-observation. Notice when you speak words that are not fully true, not to deceive maliciously, but to shape perception. Notice how others respond. Notice how confidence changes the weight of your words. Notice too when you are swayed by others' appearances. Ask yourself, am I responding to reality or to the mask? This discipline of questioning sharpens your vision. It makes you less susceptible to illusions, while making your own illusions more effective. Next, cultivate versatility. Machiavelli admired the fox as much as the lion. The fox deceives, the lion intimidates. Both are necessary. If you rely only on charm and appearances, you risk exposure. If you rely on force, you invite rebellion. The true master shifts between masks, adapting to the situation. In your life, this means developing multiple personas. The professional face, the intimate face, the commanding face, the humble face. Each is a mask, but together they give you flexibility. The rigid actor is soon unmasked. The versatile actor endures. Finally, embrace the solitude that comes with clarity. To see through appearances is to walk apart from the herd. Nietzsche called this the path of the free spirit, the one who dares to bear the burden of truth without collapsing into despair. It's not easy. The crowd will resent you for seeing too much, for refusing to believe the illusions that comfort them. You may need to play along outwardly while keeping your inner sight sharp. But this solitude is also strength. It frees you from the tyranny of appearances, even as you continue to wield them. In the end, the lesson is both dark and empowering. The world is built on deception. Power flows to those who control appearances. To deny this is to remain a victim. To embrace it without discipline is to be consumed. But to master it, to see the mask, to wear it consciously, to balance it with inner truth, is to step into the realm of real freedom. Machiavelli's rules for power are not instructions for cruelty. They are instructions for survival in a world where truth alone has no defense. So carry this with you. Appearances will always triumph over reality in the eyes of the herd. But you are not bound to be one of the herd. You can learn to see. You can learn to act. You can learn to play the game without losing yourself in it. This is the art of deception. Not a cheap trick, not a lie, but a discipline, a craft. A mask you wield with mastery. And remember this final warning. The herd will always demand illusions. They will follow the confident liar over the hesitant truth-teller. They will crown the man who wears the mask and crucify the man who rips it away. That is the law of power, and it has never changed. But you, standing here, listening now, you have a choice. You can remain blind, consuming the illusions others feed you. Or you can awaken and learn to shape appearances yourself. The mask will never disappear. The only question is whether it belongs to you or someone else. Thanks for joining me for this episode of The Midnight Mind. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button for me. I really would appreciate it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys next time.